Hello and welcome back to Homebrew EDH, where I take you through my personal commander decks, how they work, and how they win. This episode is Kwende, Pride of Femeref. That's how I'm going to go with it. This is an aggro deck, looking to attack and beat our opponent's life totals to 0 as fast as possible. With that, let's get into the episode. Kwende costs 3 and a white for a 2/2 legendary human knight with double strike that simply reads, creatures you control with first strike have double strike. So this is all about hitting our opponents before they can even do anything about it. So let's get into the first bit for this episode, because this has a couple of parts to it. Obviously the cards with first strike, like Battlefield Raptor and Consul's Lieutenant. Battlefield Raptor, 1 white for a 1/2 bird with flying and first strike, and Consul's Lieutenant is white for a 2/1 human soldier with first strike, renown 1. When it deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, put a +1/+1 counter on it and it becomes renowned. That also reads, whenever Consul's Lieutenant attacks, if it's renowned, other attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, which is perfect for what we want to do, which is hordes of little tiny creatures and then pump them up, because our opponents can't do anything about it in terms of damage, because we will always hit first. Now the second part to this is creatures with, well, double strike, because first strike gets double strike, so why not have a bit of normal double strike in here with cards like Goring Ceratops and Fencing Ace. Fencing Ace is 1 and a white for a 1/1 with double strike. It's pretty simple, and Goring Ceratops is super helpful, probably the MVP in this deck. 5 white for a 3/3 dinosaur with double strike. Whenever it attacks, other creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn, so sometimes we might not even need our commander to give our creatures double strike. Now with all this attacking, we're going to want to protect ourselves, so there's a little bit of control in this deck. Cards like Silk Wrap and Borrowed Time can exile certain permanents when they enter the battlefield until they leave, and there's not a lot of enchantment removal in the group that I play with, so these cards are fairly okay, as well as cards like Vryn Wingmare and Eidolon of Obstruction to stacks the board just long enough in the early game to get our creatures out and not have to worry about too much else, to build our army up and then swing for the win. Now we do have some catch-up cards, if you will, that if things go south rather quickly, we have some ways to bring some stuff back. And because we're in mono white, some things are better for us, but most of these things are worse, so we have to do what we can. Cards like Sunset Revelry, Ambitious Farmhand, and Mentor of the Meek are going to help us out here. Sunset Revelry is 1 and a white for a sorcery that reads, if an opponent has more life than you, gain 4 life. If an opponent controls more creatures than you, create 2/1/1 human creature tokens. And if an opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw a card. Ambitious Farmhand is just ramp on a creature that is 1 and a white for a 1/1 human peasant that reads, when it enters, search our library for a plains card, a basic plains, reveal it, put it into our hand, and then shuffle, so they can help catch us up a little bit. And it also will transform with the Coven ability. 1 white, transform it. Activate this only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, and it turns into Seasoned Cathar, which is just a 3/3 with lifelink. And the probably runner-up for MVP in this deck is Mentor of the Meek, because a lot of these first and double strike creatures have very small power because they hit twice. Mentor of the Meek is going to help us a ton with card draw. 2 and a white for a 2/2 human soldier that reads, whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. It's going to help us out in the long term with the game, able to draw cards, keep up with our opponents, and eventually win the game. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Homebrew EDH. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. As always, deck list will be in the description with all the cards I did not include in this video. Constructive feedback and deck suggestions are always welcome in the comments. I read them all. And until I see you guys in the next one, take it easy and enjoy your day.